Hello, so today we're going to be talking about the effects of GMOs on the environment. So what if I told you that every banana that you've ever eaten is just a copy and paste of another banana? It's kind of weird to think about, right? Well, that's exactly what a GMO is. To start, we need to go back in history and talk about GMOs a little bit more. So in 1973, two scientists named Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen decided to create the first GMO. They did this by taking a gene and separating it and putting it into another organism, copying, pasting it into another organism. And they did this to create the first genetically modified organism. Even back then, though, scientists knew that this could be a trouble to the ecosystem, so they decided to hold a conference to talk about the controversies. The people who attended this concluded that GMOs are a good thing and that we should continue and proceed in use. So the first ever food or crop to be approved for commercial use was the tomato. Now, the GMO tomato was a lot more aesthetically pleasing to the consumer, and it was also a lot easier for the farmers to farm. They did this because they can now use a whole bunch more of herbicides and pesticides that would not affect the crop, and now that they could use all of those, they could ensure that the crop would grow correctly. However, this was a problem because now it causes a overuse of these herbicides and pesticides. This also creates mutant weeds that are resistant to those herbicides. Now, what happens when we use an overuse of these herbicides and pesticides is a thing called runoff and red tides. So red tides happen, I don't know if you can see this, but this is in Waimea, Hawaii, and it is a pollution of all the runoff. I don't know if you can see it, but what happens is red tide, and it contains algae over the top of the ocean and takes up all the oxygen from the water. This is very harmful to the ecosystem and causes many of organisms to die. Now, a rebuttal against me would be that we need more food in these GMOs to do it for the population that is growing. However, in the US alone, we throw away over $218 billion worth of food every year. Now, as a consumer, what we can do is we can buy only organic foods, even though they might be a little bit more expensive. And then we can also make sure we're not over buying a bunch of food products and then just throwing them away when they get bad. Another thing that even the farmers can do is that they can use better techniques to save their crops, such as crop rotation, cover their crops. They can reduce the tillage, and they can also just know that their seed quality is good. Now, in conclusion, GMOs are harmful to the ecosystem, but it is a good thing for food production and the aesthetics. What can we do as consumers to stop these harmful pollution of water is we can change the way we see our food and maybe buy for only what we need instead of what we can buy. So I encourage everyone to buy only organic if you can. Thank you.